Hello everybody and welcome to the October 2025 update from Clydebridge station. And it's a very empty depot because this is where the work is going to be getting done this month, here in the depot. These concrete walkways and the concrete area here are all going to get rebuilt this month. This fuel storage tank area is also going to get rebuilt to make it look a lot better. And whilst I won't be able to get everything done, I hope to have at the end a much improved scene of what we've got here currently. I mean, that certainly doesn't look acceptable, nor does that. So that's what's going to be the main focus of the work this month. Work has already started because the little pipe work that I had trying to make a fueling point access, well, that is gone. But these from West Hill Wagon Works, I've lost a hose for one of these water pipes. If I can carefully prise one of them off, it'll do in there instead. So that's going to be the main focus of the work this month. As usual, towards the end of the video there'll be shout outs to various layouts, and if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon so that you can be notified of when new videos appear on this YouTube channel. There's at least one per calendar month. So if you're all ready, all aboard and enjoy the programme. Any comments, queries or suggestions, please leave them in the comments box below and I look forward to seeing them. This is the first thing that will top and tail the actual video this month. The fuel storage tank is absolutely fine, but it's this part here that's not absolutely fine. What I'm going to do is keep the concrete base that's inside, but the walls will have to go to the outside. That means new walls getting built. Then I'm going to put a layer of sand in there, a small amount of sand, and then glue that down, and then this will sit back on it only after the sand has been weathered to make it look like there's been oil leaks going into there. That's what's going to happen there, and it's going to be topped off with some coping stones round it. That's the work that will be going on first of all, and then and then we'll see the finished article at the end. I won't glue this into the sand, I'll just leave it sitting as is in case it needs to come out again in the future. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Now that's it all built up there. I use the TX199 concrete, which you can't actually see now that I've put the sand on top, but it forms a sort of protection for the grey board, the modelling card, and I use 1mm modelling card, which I also use to form the basis for the bricks. And then TX304 Flemish brick. Now admittedly one bit has just come loose there, but I shall go and fix that. Next thing I'm going to do is put a mixture of PVA water right round that and leave that to dry for a few days, and then towards the end I'll add the coping stones. Later on in the programme we'll come back and we'll see what the finished article looks like. Oh, and I'll also be using track grime dotted around there too. I'll use that with a syringe just to dot a little bit of that around to make it look like oil being absorbed by the sand. That's what I'm going to do now. And I say later on we'll have a look at the finished product. Now we're going to go into the big bit, the concrete. Work has now started on getting all this old concrete up, and you can see a couple of little issues. Obviously this is what the concrete has been sitting on, some cork. It's not a big issue though, because I've actually got spare cork I could stick down where possible. I'll be taking up the rest of this concrete, and then what I'm going to do is have a look and see what other places I'll need to put cork down. I have some spare cork down underneath the layout, which I'll be able to stick down where necessary, and I'll just use PVA to stick it down and weigh it down. And it's 2mm scale model scenery modelling card that will be going on here. It has the slot underneath there, so it's one of these that will be pushed in firmly home, and it's also got to be done in such a way that it matches and makes a good appearance for the joins onto the concrete paths. It's not going to be easy, but the way I'm going to try and do it is using good old sellotape to join the pieces together, then wrap them in concrete. Again, that's scale model scenery stuff, and then carefully place each bit down. The 2mm thick SMS modelling card will also be useful for other things, such as when I come to eventually do this lot again, because some of that needs to get redone. But back to this bit here, it's going to mean quite a long, unwieldy piece of modelling card in the end, but it's the only way I can actually do this. I feel I can't see any other way I'm going to do it. As I lift each piece up, I'll just put it to the right of where it should be as I look at it standing this way, and then from there I'll be able to start getting the bits together. Cork is available anywhere. Most modelling shops or houseware shops should sell it. If you do get stuck at all, always ask your own model shop or a model railway club or a forum what's best for you. Change of plan, as there always seems to be with these sorts of things. My original plan had been to stick on the actual strips to here with tape and then glue it all together and slip it in as one. That now isn't going to be a viable option, because obviously this has got to slide underneath, which it has done, but also I'd have a lot of dangling things. That's maybe not the right phrase to use, but anyway, and it just wouldn't look right at all. So what I've now decided to do is glue this piece into place first. And you see all these bits here, I'm going to cut new ones out, and these will then form the basis of the new, these will be the templates for the new strips. Now, in making this up, what I'll also be doing is at one end having a little overhang so that it goes on to here no problem, and it'll only be a little overhang which I'll then hopefully cover over with another strip at the end. But again, these are plans that might change. But very clearly this is going to be looking a lot different by the time you come back and join me when I've got the first 2 or 3 down. I should add as well that I've still got to weather all of this, so that'll be another thing, but just to show you how good this is, I think. The water tower. But there's a lot of work to do before that goes back on. That's been glued down with PVA glue, and I'll weigh that down and leave it overnight. If I just send the camera along there, you'll have to excuse my friend's dog. You can just see there, and I'll just come in, get you a better view of it. That's the first 2 pieces done, and the first 2 sections done. They've been butted up right against this concrete here. Initially I thought I wasn't going to have enough of the SMS concrete strips to do the job, but it now, concrete sheets rather, but it now looks as though I will have enough, because this and this have taken up, you can see a bounce of that is, I've used 2 sheets of the 5, so expect this one, which will come up to about here, we'll use a 3rd sheet and we'll get a 4th sheet here. So I am now going to have enough, and what I'm now going to do here is thin piece of SMS concrete sheet, there, a strip of it, to join that and hide those joins there. These have all been overlapped and put on. As I say, they're weighed down and, sorry, they're glued down using lots of PVA, and then what I'll do after that is let them to properly settle for a couple of days. As for the water tower, it won't go back on until the strips is back on. You can just see how far out that water tower comes. So it's going to have to, an alternative might be to put it that way. Now well, the sun picks up, there you go. It's an alternative way to put it. Anyway, I'll put that back up there now. I've got plenty of time to think about it. The likes of the standpipes for the water to refill the tanks on the coaches, they'll go down at a much later date. I'd rather actually ballast this first before putting them on. I'm going to get the rest of it done and then let you see the finished product. There we go. It does look rather plain at the moment, obviously, because I haven't got the water standpipes in place yet. I was going to weather all of this, but I've had second thoughts. I'm just going to leave it as it is because it looks a wee bit weathered, texture paper. I've added a standpipe just near, and that's actually for the oil. And what I will do is I will dry brush round that with track grime to make it look like there has been a little fuel leak. And later on in the programme we'll be putting the fuel tank back in here. I've put the water tower that way now. The reason being, there it is there. I don't know how well the camera picks up. See that there? It's just too close to that buffer stop, so I've just done it that way now, and I've moved it in a bit so it's away from there, and I'll be putting some vegetation just in there as well. Of course, the thing we really need in here now, just to make it look a little bit better, a couple of things, is I need to stick down Derek and Dave here and here, and then when you get you get a train in, I think, and I think that's what I'll do next. I'll get them stuck down and we'll get a train in. There we go, so that's how it looks like with a couple of trains and a couple of locos in. One of the advantages of actually having the storage units down here, as you can see, I can actually lift the locos off and swap them off around off camera. It's very appropriate. I've put 47975, the Institution of Civil Engineers, in because this is a civil engineering project, but then I think the majority of the stuff you do on a model railway layout is a civil engineering project, to be honest. Well, as I say, the depot is now looking much better with the new concrete in place. The one thing I will say is the concrete itself will still get the water parts put on it, the water taps put on it for filling up the washers, but I'm looking at just having 3 and 3, maybe 1 and 1, so that's what my plan is, because I don't think at compact depots, I don't think they put water next to the fueling point, but that but the depot now does look a lot better. Obviously, still lots of things to be done. This bit here, around here, has got to be fixed somehow. In fact, the whole depot area here still needs to get redone. There's still quite a bit to do. And it's going to be this we're going to do next. We're going to build a new one of these, and I'll explain why I bought a third and I've still got this old bit here. This is what I'm going to build. It's a scale model scenery, Lima X-ray 450 Oscar Oscar 50-foot yard light. You'll need a cutting mat, a craft knife to cut out the various parts, and I always use laser cut kit glue for something like this, and an empty jam jar with a wet tissue or blue roll in there. That's to prevent the nozzle from getting clogged up. Dylan Sanderson, when he worked for Scale Model Scenery, built one of these in a live build. Now, it did get interrupted, the live build, by a technical failure which caused loss of picture for a couple of minutes. But I'll put the link in, up in the top right hand corner so you can actually see that if you so wish, and it should be in the description below. If you click show more, it should be down there so you can see it. One thing I will point out to you is that I'm going to be building this version because this looks more modern, 1980s style, and so I'll be using sheet 3 for building. I'm not going to talk you through the whole thing, I'll leave that to Dylan. Make sure when you're building it that the tabs that you just see there are all facing the same direction. That's to hold your ladder in place. You get that wrong and you won't get your ladder in place. It also says about the ladder in the instructions to put it at the bottom. Don't put it up about there. Just zooming again. If you put it in at the bottom of the ladder, then what will happen is when you come to put the whole structure into this base panel, the ladder will prevent it from going right in, and you'll have to trim the ladder back, and that can be a lot of hassle. So make sure the ladder is in line with these thickened notches at the top and not the base. Also, once you're finished, it'll need spraying. Spray the whole thing grey or silver. I'm going to use grey primer, and then I'll be painting these black afterwards. One tip I will give you is, when you come to spray it, leave the structure for about 24 hours, I would say, at least, before you spray it. That'll give the glue time to set in. Well, I'm going to go ahead and build this, and I'll show you where I'm up to at a key point. There's where we're up to so far. There's a wasp flying around, and that's this is what I mean here about the ladder. You can see there it's just in line with the bottom of the second node, so that's that there. Now what happens next, you might be tempted at this point just to put it into its base. Don't, because it's better out its base. It gives you more flexibility to get things done. The next thing I am going to do is start to get these pieces in. These are cross member sections. They'll go at the top and bottom. Very simply, you've got two big and two short, two long ones opposite each other, two shorts opposite each other. My advice to you would be to do one type first and then do the other type, so you know what you're doing. Now, with that's all completed, one of these modern lamps was very troublesome, and I had to end up using Yoo-hoo glue to stick it on. So if you're trying laser cut kit glue and lamps aren't sticking on, use Yoo-hoo glue for that, but put a little drop of laser cut kit glue on first. That's now ready and built, but it's not ready for painting yet because I'm wanting to let the glue dry, so it'll be an overnight job. I'll then paint it using an aerosol and this is the one I've got here. I bought this out of B&Q. It's a Rust-Oleum Surface Primer matte finish. That's the colour. Don't ever get a gloss finish. Once that's primer's dry, I'll then use a hand brush to paint the modern lamps. You do this gently. Black for the back and side, white for the bits underneath, which is the actual lamp. You'll see the completed product in a few seconds. It might take me a few hours to have that ready, but you'll just have to wait a few seconds. There we go, that's the tower done. What I've done is get the camera under there a little bit, and you can see that I've painted the lights white and the back of the floodlights black. I haven't painted this box here yet, it's still grey. I may repaint that brown though. Let me know what you think. Leave it as it is, black or brown. That's been glued down with Yoo-Hoo glue, and it now sits there, much secure, and provides a good little light down to the sidings and the water tank as well. And the water tank is of course not glued on. I'll just put that on. And I've left it a little gap like that for a very good reason. In the real world, if you put it up there, people might climb over that wall and jump onto it. So that's why I've left it like that, so that people don't jump onto it in the real world. I mean, you don't want to have a version of 21 Jump Street, do you? But that's the tower in position. I've got the fuel storage tank to go in here next. When you look at that view there, you can just see the fuel tank there, and you can see the floodlight there and the water tower. So it does give it a bit of an operational feel. In the future, I'm going to extend this back scene slightly here and build a new low relief side of the bus garage. Now here we have the fuel storage tank, and that's it now been completed. If I just zoom in there, you can see the sand is all glued down, and that is oil spill kit that's been used in that part there, just to simulate oil. It's perhaps leaked out the tank at some point in the future, and you can see how heavily stained it is. Admittedly, this has not been stained here, the coping stones. I may use track grime on that in the future, just to give it a bit of a more realistic appearance. It does need the no naked flame signs put on it as well, so that will come about at some point in the future. It's not stuck on, but that's that there. But certainly it's a much more robust and better looking one. And the irony of me putting down the little concrete sheet inside and then covering it with sand is it's actually ended up absorbing the water and sealing it a bit. If I actually turn this upside down, you can see there it's actually helped absorb the PVA glue and that which I put in there. But yeah, it still needs the naked flame signs, but they're easy obtainable. But just in this little corner here, you see a little gap there. Don't know how well the camera picks that up. There's a little gap there. That's going to get hidden over by a shed. Earlier in 2025 and the later part of 2024, Scale models here we're doing an offer. If you spent so much on one order, you got a free flat pack shed to build. No, not the real one, a double O gauge one, 6x4. So I've got 3 of these. 2 will do for the B&Q Garden Centre, but Jim Scobie at Scooney Hobbies said that depots like my one would actually have a little shed themselves. So it's going to go and get hidden in the corner there, and that'll hide that little gap there. And obviously I'll put some vegetation around about here eventually. But that shed will be getting built in the December update. But I'm very happy with how this is starting to turn out. Admittedly, I could do with at least one more person walking around here, but that's not a big issue at the moment. 2 things left in this month's programme. We've got shout outs to do, but first of all we're going to turn our attention to finishing off the vegetation area next to the motorail ramp, because it's not quite finished yet. I'm not quite happy with it. That's this little bit been done here, had a bit more added to it. I'll probably add a little bit more vegetation here in the future. A little bit of brown showing through there with the modelling card, but I'm quite happy with that. And obviously here, notice when I've actually took it back off, part of the silver paint from the aerosol has come off. Don't know how well the camera picks that up. There you go. I'm leaving it like that because walking around and passing metal fences and other places, I've seen things like that happen, so I'm going to leave it like that. What is missing here is a gate. It should probably be sitting about here, and that's something that I'll do well into the future, but not right now. I've put a couple of bits a little closer to the pavement and one bit further away. I don't want to overdo it, but somebody has suggested a supermarket trolley in there, and I'll certainly look into that for the future. That's a good idea, that. One thing left this month, and that's the shout outs. The first shout out this month is actually quite a poignant one, and the YouTube channel is Double O Duo, Gaz and his lovely daughter Ivy. They were building a layout called Old Castle, which is set in the BR sectorisation era. I'm saying it's poignant because during the middle of September came the very sad news that Gaz lost his 18-month battle with cancer. Old Castle, which is the layout, was created by him and Ivy while he was fighting this battle, and they had some great fun building it, and you could see the joy that both of them had in their videos. My condolences of course go to his wife Claire and to his daughter Ivy at this very sad time. And Ivy, a very personal note to make to say to you as well. You and your dad had tremendous energy with this, with Old Castle, with your layout, with your YouTube channel. And I'm pretty sure wherever your dad is now, he'll be channeling that energy into you to carry on with it. And I sincerely hope that you do, in the time to come, go back to that layout, because it'll be a great memorial for your dad, and it'll be a very positive way to remember your dad as well. And as I say, once again, my condolences go to Claire and Ivy at this very difficult time. He will be missed. The next layout that I'm going to give a shout out to, I gave him a shout out last month, and he's been nominated in the Hornby Magazine Awards, is Proper Chuffed, a South African gentleman, but he has a layout that's set in the West Highland line in the sectorisation era, and he's recently took delivery of one of the new Hilgen Class 104 DMUs, the Mexican bean units. And I'll just give you a little fact about that unit. It finished its days, once it was withdrawn at the end of the 1987 summer season, it finished its days at Thornton Depot awaiting cutting up, and indeed it was scrapped there. I believe it was Vic Berry that may have come up and done the scrapping of it there. But the Hailgen Mexican being his latest arrival, we'll go and check out Proper Chuffed here on YouTube. He'll appreciate the follow. And another layout to go and check out, but this time it's set a little bit further on in my sectorisation era, is Walton-on-Trent with his Flange Squeal series of layout updates. A lot more sophisticated than what I produce, I can tell you that right now. He's set in the West Midlands, or the Midlands area, in Stafford. Walton-on-Trent is based loosely on Birmingham New Street in Stafford. And it's worth checking him out because he's actually found a new way of making a ceiling for inside a railway station. Wait till you hear this one. Scrabble tiles. And it actually looks very similar to the original Mercat shopping centre ceiling in Kirkcaldy in Phase 1 in the 1970s and 80s. So go and check him out, Walton-on-Trent. Some non-railway layouts I just want to give a quick shout out to. And the first one is my good friends of Shawnee, Danny, Finn, Rocco and Caleb, also known as Just the Brave. The boy band Just the Brave. Good friends with them. They're wanting to come and see this layout one day. And I think when they do, they're going to name a locomotive 47461 Charles Rennie Mackintosh. So hopefully they'll get out one day to see this layout and give a locomotive a name. That's Just the Brave. You'll find them on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram, Just the Brave Official. Staying with Instagram, another group to check out, and this is one for those of you who are into hard rock and metal, Criminal Holiday, who come from Tyneside. So if you check them out on Instagram. And lastly, a quick shout out, and it's not often I go and do this, but a quick shout out to a model railway shop. You will have heard of them, but I'll give them a quick shout out because you'll find them on Twitter, and that's Kernow Model Centre. So if you give them a quick shout out, they're actually based in Cornwall, same county that Scale Model Scenery, who supply a lot of this stuff, are based in. Next month, attention turns to building a brand new low relief rugby union ground entrance. That's what my plan is next month. I have a lot of the bits on order ready for it. I don't think I'll have it completed in one of the updates. It may have to take over 2 updates because I want to really take my time with it and I want to make a really good job. After all, I took my time building the department store and look what I achieved. So I'm wanting to do that there. But it'll be loosely based upon the main stand at Starks Park in Kirkcaldy. That's the home ground of Wraith Rovers Soccer Club. Before it got new cladding on it a couple of years ago. So that's what I'll be basing the new low relief rugby union ground entrance on. It's not going to be an easy project, but it's going to be an achievable project if I take my time, and that's what will be taking place next month. There'll also be a preview in that video of the Cooper Model Railway Christmas show at the Corn Exchange, so look out for all of that. And you never know, there might be another new locomotive on the layout. I don't know. I just know I'll be building a rugby union ground. On screen shortly will be a link to a previous video, a link to a playlist, and a button in the middle to look at the channel and subscribe to it. And please, subscribing is free. I sincerely hope you do subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell icon to be notified of when new videos appear. There's at least one per calendar month. So that's it from this month's update. I look forward to your company sometime in November for the November 2025 update. In the meantime, please, whatever you're doing, do take care of yourselves, won't you? And enjoy your layouts. We'll see you soon. Cheerio.